יום הפרק ה' משנה ו'. היזה על טהרו של מזבח. He sprinkled on the purity of the altar. What does that mean? לאחר שגמר הכהן גדול את כל המתנות גדולות המזבח. So we're talking about the golden altar inside, the היכל. So after he finished all the corners, היה מזה על המזבח עצמו. He used to sprinkle on the middle of the altar itself. The four corners and the middle. היינו, which means, שהיה חוטא האפר והגחלים אילך ואילך, he used to turn all the coals to this side and this side, ומזה על זהבו של המזבח, and he used to sprinkle the blood on the gold of the altar, למעלה בגגו, on the roof. ובגמרא מבואר, טהרו, what does it mean purify? גילויה, he used to reveal it, taking the coals away. המקום המגולה שבו, the place that is revealed, the upper part. How many times? 7 פעמים. 7 times, כמו שנאמר, והיזה עליו מן הדם באצבעו 7 פעמים וטהרו. Just like the verse says, and he sprinkled it on the blood with his fingers 7 times and it became pure. Now he's got a cup with blood in it. What does he do with that? ושיירי הדם, and the remainder of the blood, מה שנשתייר מן הדם, everything that remained from the blood, אחר כל המתנות, after all the sprinkling, so he's got now, in this cup, he's got both the bull and the goat. So what do we used to do with it? היה שופך על יסוד מערבי של מזבח החיצון. He used to pour on the western base of the outer altar. So he used to take the cup and go out of the house, out of the heichal, into the big altar, and he used to pour it in the west. It's going to explain. שנאמר, because it says, ואת כל דם הפר, it says, all the blood of the bull, ישפוך על יסוד המזבח, העולה אשר פתח אוהל מועד. It's going to pour on the altar, on the base of the altar, that is in the opening of the meeting tent. ואוהל מועד למערבו של מזבח חיצון היה. And the meeting tent was on the west of the altar. ושל מזבח החיצון, and on the outside altar, ושיירי הדם שהיו מזים מזבח חיצון, היה שופך היסודו דרומי. He used to pour on the western base של המזבח, of the altar. He's going to explain. שכן בקרן דרומית מערבית, because on the western, southwestern base, היו על גבי היסוד 2 נקבים דקים. If you look at the מזבח had a base, and then like a small one like this, and then the mizbeach went up over here. So it was a small step, and on the western part there was 2 holes. So on that thing, שכן בקרם דרומית מערבית היה על גבי היסוד 2 נקבים דקים. There were 2 small holes. אחד פונה למערב ואחד פונה next to each other. So on the corner, one was to the west, one was to the north. To the north? No, to the south. One to the west, one, so on the southwestern corner. So one was a little bit here, one was a little bit here. Yeah? ושם היו שופכים את שיירי הדם. And that's where they used to pour all the, it's not only for the Yom Kippur. Every time you had a cup with some blood left over, that's where you poured it. וזה ששנינו כאן ששיירי הדם של החטאות הפנימיות, and that's what we learned over here. That the remainder of the blood of the inner sin offerings, which are the inner sin offerings. So now, from now on, you're going to hear the inner sin offering and the outer sin offering. The inner sin offering is the Yom Kippur ones, the bull and the goat. The outer is everything regular, the rest of the year. היינו, הפר השעיר של יום הכיפורים, שדם זרק בפנים. These are inner sin offerings, the ones you put in the heichal, in the house. So, but they would take that blood and היו שופכים על יסוד מערבי. They would pour it on the western base. היינו בנקב המערבי. It means in the western hall. אבל שיירי הדם של החטאות החיצוניות, but the remainders of the blood of all the sacrifices that you do outside, שדמן נזרק למזבח חיצון, all the one that you're going to sprinkle on the outer altar, והוא הדין ששאר קורבנות, in all other sacrifices, היו שופכים בנקב דרומי. They were right next to each other, but one was on the west, one was on the south. והטעם הוא, and the reason, שלמדים ירידתו של הכהן מן הכבש בחטאות החיצוניות ושיירי אדם בימו. We learn it, going down of the Kohen from the ramp, when we're talking about, this is the outer sacrifices, not the inner sacrifices. When he used to come down with the blood in his hand, מיציאתו של הכהן גדול מן ההיכל. We learn it from the fact that how the high priest went out of the היכל. ושיירי הדם של החטאות הפנימיות בידו. And yet the remainder of the blood is in his hand. מה ביציאתו מן ההיכל היה נותן שיירי אדם בסמוך לו? So when he went out from the היכל, he went to the closest hole to him. So that you don't mix this. As soon as you get the mitzvah, that's what you do it. So immediately he did it. And when you go out from the mizbeach, this is the other one is the closest. שהוא היסוד המערבי. When you go out of the היכל, the closest one is the western one. כמו שהבאנו את הכתוב, אף בירידתו מן הכבש נוהג אשר עם סמוך לו. So when he goes down from the altar on the regular sacrifices, דהיינו ביסוד הדרומי הסמוך לכבש, when he goes on the south, he goes down on the south, which is next to it, then he has to put it on the south, the one that's closest to him. אלו ואלו, but it doesn't matter. These two holes used to join into one pipe. It doesn't matter, it goes into one, it will end up in the same place. אלו ואלו שיירי אדם של יסוד מערבי של יסוד דרומי, both the holes go out to say, מתערבים באמה, they both get mixed up in the little spring that ran in the courtyard, באמת המים בתעלה שבעזרה, ויוצאים לנחל קדרון, and they both go out to the river of Kidron. It was to go out from the temple, ונמכרים לגננים לזבל, and they would be sold to the farmers, so as a manure. It was good, blood, it's good for the vegetables. ומועלין בהם, יש בהם דין מעילה. There is in them דין מעילה, ואסור ליהנות מהם בלי תשלום. And you're not allowed to enjoy them without payment. In other words, you cannot just, which means it doesn't belong to you. You would think it belongs to the temple. This blood belongs to the temple. No one can use it for his own use. In other words, the farmer wants to use it. He cannot go to the river and take some, because it spilled some. No. He has to pay for it. That's what it means, din mila. ברם אין מועלים בהם אלא מדרבנן, but it's only from the rabbis, שכן מן התורה אין מעילה בדם. Because from the Torah, in other words, it could be like a sacrifice. If you're using a sacrifice for your own need, it's the same thing. But that's from the rabbis, because from the Torah, there's no such thing as me'ilah in blood, it's only in meat. But because it's the sacrifices, the Rabbanim says, no, we're going to be extra strict over here.